This is a rice and beans recipe, and it's my version, and because I add a lot of different stuff to this recipe. A basic rice and beans recipe, I like to use the jasmine rice. You'll need 2 cups of that and then 2 cups of water. You also need some adobo. I have a small container here. They come in bigger sizes. Sazon, I like to use the red. And then I also like to use Goya's tomato sauce, small. And finally, some of their beans. Now that's all you need to do rice and beans, but since this is my version, I have a lot of different and extra ingredients, which you're about to see right now. Okay, some of my ingredients are, I use 2 strips of bacon, I dice them up. I use about a half of an onion and dice that up, some garlic and some pepper flakes. And lastly, if I have it, I like to use some of the Goya sofrito. You can find this frozen. Anybody who carries Goya stuff, you usually find it into their coolers where you have their frozen items. What I like to cook in, I bought this for like 20 bucks at a Spanish market. It's all aluminum. It really makes good rice and beans, but again, you can use any kind of pot that you want to use for this. Okay, we're going to start out here. I'm going to turn up the heat to medium, and through the whole process here, I want to cook this at a medium heat. First, I want to spray in a little oil. You can just pour some vegetable oil in if you want. I have a spray here with avocado oil. And now, since this is my version, I'm going to start with my ingredients, which happens to be the 2 strips of bacon that I have diced up. And I'm going to just cook that down, and it's going to take a few minutes to do that and to render out. And then when the fat renders out, it's just going to give the rice a little different taste. A lot of people who eat my rice keep asking me, why does mine taste a little different? It's because of this bacon. A few minutes have gone by and I've kind of rendered out the fat, and now I'm going to add my onions, and I'm going to sweat those onions down. And again, I have this on medium heat. And for a few minutes here, I'm going to stir this so they don't burn. And now while this is being rendered down, I'm going to go to my next step. The next step is probably one of the most important steps, believe it or not, and that is to rinse your rice. If you don't do this, your rice will be gummy and it won't come out. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put under like medium temperature here, and I'm going to start rinsing. And as I start to rinse, you'll see at the bottom that it becomes milky, and that's you getting the starch out of the rice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep rinsing, and every so often I'm going to just kind of by sight, I'm going to check the color. It's not going to have to be really totally clear, but I want it clear enough so I know that I've rinsed out most of the starch that's in the rice. Again, this is very important. If you don't do this, your rice will not come out. The first time I made this, over and over again, the rice wouldn't come out until I talked to my daughter-in-law, who is Puerto Rican, and talked to her mother, and she's the one who told me I have to rinse out the rice. Now that my rice has been rinsed out, I return to my stove and continue the bacon and onions, which are now about done. So I'm about ready to add my garlic. Again, I'm going to saute that for a little bit. Add my pepper flakes. and let that cook for a little bit. Okay, about 2 minutes have passed, and I'm now going to add my sofrito. And again, all these ingredients we've been putting in here, you do not need to put in to make your rice and beans. What I'm going to do here on my sofrito, again, I'm going to add about 2 heaping tablespoons. And again, all sofrito is just a bunch of cooked down peppers and spices. So I'm going to just stir that in, let that cook a little bit. About a minute and a half has gone by, and you can see it's bubbling now. And it's now time to add the actual ingredients if I was doing just plain old rice and beans. I'm going to add in about 3/4, as close as I can get here, of the can of the tomato sauce. And then I'm going to stir that in. Mix it really well. And now I'm going to add my Sazon. Again, the red packet, they have many different kinds. The red seems to be the best for this. Stir that in. Let that cook a little bit. And now I'm going to add my adobo. If I have a large container of adobo, I'm going to do, it's called 3 circle drops here. But that's if you have a big one. I'll do 3. But this is a small one, so I'm going to do 5. And so you'll see me spin this like 5 times around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's a crazy way to measure, but that's the way I watched someone do that a long time ago, and it seems to work. I'm letting this cook for about 30 seconds or so. And now I'm going to add my rice that I have already rinsed. And again, I can't tell you how important it is to make sure you rinse off your rice. So here is my rinsed rice. And I'm going to kind of incorporate the sauce into the rice. Now next I'm going to be adding the beans, and some recipes call for you to drain the liquid off the beans. I found out that I like keep adding depth of flavor. I like that little bit of that bean sauce in there, so I do not drain them off. I actually add that into the mix. Then I'm going to stir and incorporate the beans. Finally add my 2 cups of water that I had pre-measured out. Now again, all this time the heat has been on medium. Now when you add the water, you don't cover this right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this start to cook, and you'll notice I'm testing the amount of liquid on top of the beans, and you'll see as I keep testing for that. So I let this cook and I go about maybe 10 minutes. And after 10 minutes, I'm starting to again check the amount of liquid. I still see, to me, there's still too much liquid on the top, and I don't feel the firmness of the beans and the rice below. So about another 7 minutes later, I'm testing it, and as I put this in, I can feel the layer of beans and the rice now coming to the top, and it's now getting closer and closer to me to be able to cover it. Another minute or so, and I think now I am about ready. I can see the beans and the rice the liquid's less, and the beans and the rice are rising to the top. Okay, I'm now about ready. The liquid in the top is almost gone, but I want you to notice how low I am setting this flame. You want it barely on to actually keep cooking the rice, and you're going to be cooking it for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. So I've adjusted the flame very low. You can see that a lot of the liquid's gone, and I'm going to cover it. Do not take the lid off. Do not look at it for 45 minutes. Let it sit there. If you take the lid off, you could be ruining it. So you want to make sure that the 45 minutes is gone. I shut the heat off, and I'm now going to do the very last step, which is to fluff the rice. So I'm now going to, for the first time, mix the rice. Again, I have not touched it, I have not mixed it. And what I'm doing is I'm incorporating the rice, and I want the steaming of the rice continue so that the rice becomes fluffy and not mushed together. And I like to scrape the bottom and get some of that little burnt rice on the bottom. Now that I have fluffed the rice, I'm going to let it set for 10 minutes. You can see the steam continues to come off the rice. The longer it sits, the more fluffy it gets as the rice kind of dries out. Well, that's it. So my rice is now done, and it's now ready to serve.